Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the Anti-Social Media Podcast, Season 3, Episode 3. This is a left-leaning comedy podcast that looks at the very worst activity on social media and laughs at it. This is a slightly different episode, being that the first half, maybe the first two-thirds, is funny and taking a piss out of idiots, and the last section is a very serious bit about the Florida Parkland shootings. Since the podcast's relaunch in November 2017, this small-scale show has gone from a couple of hundred listeners to a couple of thousand listeners per episode. So to all the new people who are listening right now, I'd like to say welcome along to my fellow globalist, SJW, libtard, virtue signalling soy boys and soy girls. You've kindly taken time out from sucking on George Soros's tit and worshipping Hillary Clinton / Bernie, it's a fucking Women's March Sanders. Welcome to all you leftist, Corbynista, commie spurgs who are listening to the podcast for the first time and listening to me, a fellow beta male fag and hater of freedom of speech, the politically incorrect, and of course, guns. Trump makes me cry because I'm an easily triggered PC special snowflake socialist just like you. Welcome. We're here today because we're all woke. We're here today because we're all Tom Bloke. We're all white supremacist hating, incel shaming, troll debating, male feminists with our mutual masturbating, autism weaponising, far right baiting, anti-gamer gating, safe space dwelling, white knighting, champagne swilling, Islam defending, minority dating and achieving white genocide through mating, fake news making, low testosteroning, Antifa wars are waging, Nazi agitating, Richard Spencer maiming, cultural Marxism loving, Holocaust exaggerating, cucks in waiting. Hashtag feminism is cancer. Hashtag it's okay to be white. Hashtag Venezuela, but written in all capital letters. In all seriousness, thank you very much for deciding to check out my silly podcast. And before we all book a one-way trip to the hellhole of Oslo Istan in Sweden, please enjoy our theme tune from a great band called Man and the Echo.
Stifling your speech. There's still the same old boys on top. You're quite a little melting pot. Nobody's saying you can't be as vile as you want. Now don't get precious, baby. If someone calls you on the things you're saying, you're a dick for saying them. I'll ask political correctness made as vile as you want.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the silly introduction I did just then, and I'd like to thank the following people who replied to my request for crap insults that are only thrown towards left-wing people via Twitter, so I can compile that mega madness that you just heard. So I'd just like to say thank you to the following tweeters: Hitman683, Babadookie, Alpha Male Dr. G, Scott OTD, the Liberalist one, aka Praetordon93. Now, first of all, you all need easier names to say on a podcast, and secondly, thank you for your assistance. You can listen to this podcast in several ways. You may be listening to it now on iTunes or Spreaker.com, the host site, or on SoundCloud, where just the latest episodes are uploaded. And normally, 3 to 4 days after the audio is uploaded, I then put the episode on YouTube, giving people who have subscribed to the audio podcast first dibs to listen to it. However, because this is a very topical podcast, especially the second half, I've uploaded it at exactly the same time on all platforms, because there's every chance that everything I talk about today can be old news by 3 or 4 days' time. Now, if you're tempted to listen to this podcast in sections over, say, the course of a week, 5 minutes at a time, for example, which is something I do quite regularly because I'm quite busy, don't. Because there's so much music in here which will be deemed as copyright infringements by YouTube that it may get removed from YouTube. So the best thing to do is, if you want to listen to it at your own leisure and you don't want to listen to it on the audio streaming or downloading sites, then it's best that you download the video from a website that allows you to do that for YouTube, okay? And then just listen to it when you want. In this show, I'll be talking about the idiocy of Dave Rubin, Piers Morgan and Toby Young, aka the trifecta of twats, There's the usual rundown on major news stories and the internet's dumb reaction to them, which means there's definitely going to be some Ian Miles Chong tweets in there somewhere for me to take the piss out of. It's inevitable. And then, of course, the last 15, maybe 20 minutes of the podcast will be about Parkland, Florida, where there's another horrific school shooting. But let's begin by talking about Toby Young. Now, if you're not from the UK or not interested in politics, then this guy has been around for quite a while. He is known in the UK as a gobshite. What that means is someone who talks absolute bollocks all the time. And he's quite sexist and misogynistic as well. He's a bald-headed bastard who is a conservative and, quite frankly, not liked by a large section of the populace. There was a glorious few days where he was given a job and then had that job taken away from him due to the fact that his past on Twitter involves him mainly talking about women's tits in a very creepy manner. He was chosen by the government to advise on universities. He is a journalist and he was a pioneer of the free schools programme in Britain, which is a bit contentious. And there was, what you could say, an internet outcry over his appointment due to his past and his various thoughts about women and poor people. Toby Young has in the past claimed that working class students at Oxford University, which is one of the elitist universities in this country, were universally unattractive and small, vaguely deformed undergraduates. He also described wheelchair ramps being installed in British schools as a symptom of ghastly inclusivity. So we're dealing with a man who is quite well off, quite posh, and doesn't like people in the lower class than him, and for some reason is greatly offended by people's mobility, or indeed lack of mobility, and wanting to be able to go in and out of buildings if you're disabled. For some reason, that offends him. And remember, SJWs are supposed to be the snowflakes here. That's what we're always told. He described a gay celebrity as looking, this is a weird one, quote, queer as a coot, which is a bird, isn't it? And recalled visiting a bar containing, quote, hardcore dykes, where he tried to go undercover in a series of tweets by wearing a wig. Remember, he's bald. Wearing a wig and, just sort of walking around with his sort of shoulders out like that dog from the Tom and Jerry cartoons, Rex, I think it is. I think that's his idea of what a dyke is, a hardcore dyke as he calls them. Young has denied any prejudices after many sexist remarks about women, especially on Twitter. He said, I'm neither misogynistic nor homophobic. I'm a strong supporter of both women's rights and LGBT rights. And let's see how much of a strong supporter of women and his views of women are by some of the tweets that he deleted. Now, just a little bit of context before we get into this. In January, the Guardian newspaper in Britain reported Toby Young as saying he has, quote, composed over 56,000 tweets over his 8 or 9 years of being on Twitter. But the following day, just 8,439 posts were available to read, meaning somehow within the space of about 24 hours, Toby Young had deleted 48,000 tweets. And bearing in mind all of these are deemed to be offensive, how many of these tweets are about women and their tits? Well, here's a little example of some of them. Here's a tweet from 2010 about the Golden Globes, which is apt, I suppose, if he is focusing on this lady's breasts. He says, Helen Mirren is looking good. Hashtag grandmas I like to shag. It's a bit of a starter, that one. A little something before the main course. Next one is from 2009. Danny Boyle, the director. Danny Boyle's wife has got huge knockers. Hashtag Oscars. It's direct. It does tell you what he's thinking. Really straightforward what he's thinking. Is it apt for Twitter? Not sure. Is it apt for someone who is later going to be in government? Next one. What happened to Claudia Winkleman's breasts? Put some weight on, girly. Hashtag comic relief. Okay. That's a bit weird. Next one is about a woman called Padma. Okay, now that's her first name. She was on a program with Toby Young in America about chefs, sort of like a Gordon Ramsay style program, sort of like a Master Chef style program he did briefly, reality TV basically. And he is commenting on his co-presenter's figure on Twitter. He says, do Padma's breasts look bigger than normal? I think they do. And then he later follows it up with another tweet about her. In a hotel room with 5 months pregnant Padma. Her boobs are massive, in capital letters there. Be careful what you wish for, he ends the tweet. Later, someone asks him a question about the photograph he's just commented on. It's basically him and this woman together. They've both got weird looks on their faces. You can't quite see where their hands are. So one of his followers joked, "Where is your hand? Is it touching her bum?" He said in a tweet that was public for people to read, "Actually, mate, I had my dick up her arse." Yeah. Later, he was talking about former Labour Party leader Ed Miliband. Well, technically, a person sat behind him during a TV coverage of a debate. He said, "Serious cleavage behind Ed Miliband's head. Anyone know who it belongs to?" That was from 2012, so, he got a bit more vague as the years went on, you could say. But here's one from 2009. About the Emmy Awards ceremony in America. Ricky Gervais is wrong about this Emmys crowd. The women here are smoking hot. There should be an award for best babs. Meaning tits.
Alors voilà, Clyde a une petite amie. Elle est belle et son prénom c'est Bunny. À eux deux, ils forment le gang Barrow. Leur nom Bunny Parker et Clyde Barrow. Bunny and Clyde. Bunny and Clyde.
Que j'ai connu Clyde autrefois, c'était un gars loyal, honnête et droit.
Il faut croire que c'est la société qui m'a définitivement abîmé.
Bunny and Clyde, Bunny and Clyde.
Now, moving on to your friend of mine, Piers Morgan. Sorry to talk about this twat, but he had a lovely moment where he turned into Ian Miles Chong recently. And I'm going to leave the description of what he did up to a tweeter called Ben Collins, who tweeted the following thing. Piers Morgan, the duly elected president of South-Onia, has angrily retweeted this human centipede cartoon of himself 3 times today. Now, if you've got the podcast app from Spreaker.com, then the thumbnail of this podcast will appear on your phone as sort of like a screensaver. It'll take over the entirety of your screen with a play and a pause button below it. And that picture is also available on YouTube. That picture is of Donald Trump on a stool, a high stool, kneeling on that stool, leaning forward with his trousers down by his knees, so his bum is in the air, and there's Piers Morgan behind him on a slightly lower stool with his head leant forward with his face in Donald Trump's anus, and he's licking away, he's having a good old munch away at Donald Trump's bumhole, right? This is because Piers Morgan conducted an interview with Donald Trump just before he did the State of the Nation address in America, where you could say he gave him a bit of an easy ride, because Piers Morgan and Donald Trump share a lot of the same views. It might be because Piers Morgan is trying out to be the next Dave Rubin, not challenging his guests in any way whatsoever. A lot of man love in that room, mainly one-sided from Piers Morgan, and being an absolute penis that he is, he decided to tweet this image out 3, maybe 4 times during the next day or two, with angry captions next to the picture. By the way, the image appeared first on a BBC satirical programme called The MASH Report, which I only just discovered recently, as in the last week, and I must say it's an incredibly funny and well put together programme. It's the first time I've ever seen something in Britain that resembles The Daily Show, that Colbert Report, late night with Stephen Colbert sort of thing, where it's loads and loads of writers put together to create a quite brilliant, very funny programme. And a lot of the clips from that programme has gone viral thanks to monologues by people like Rachel Paris and the presenter Nish Kumar. Some of the tweets that he sent out, just tweeting this image over and over again with very angry captions, such as, amusing this image is to many people, can you imagine the BBC broadcasting it if the president was Hillary Clinton or the interviewer was a woman? The BBC thinks this image is okay, but if the 2 people depicted were high profile women, there would be outrage. So why the double standard, BBC? Now, what Piers fails to recognise is if 2 women were in the position where they were eating each other's arse, it would be quite acceptable of an image for many people, especially, I'm guessing, male members of the public. I've done a lot of research. I've watched a lot of adult educational videos over the last week and month and years where this practice does happen, and I must say everybody involved looked very happy indeed to be doing that. There's no embarrassment whatsoever. It's completely acceptable. In fact, when I finish recording today, I think I might go along to Pornhub and do a little bit more research on the subject, just to make sure I fully understand what he's talking about. Incidentally, all the pretentious music played on this show will be listed at the end of the episode and below in the description box. And yes, I did just play 2 versions of the same song in a row. So what? They were very good. Now let's move on and talk about your friend of mine, Dave Rubin from the Rubin Report, who posted a video recently called, wait for it, Socialism Isn't Cool. He's such a rebel, isn't he? He's such a rebel. Now at this stage, most commentators will point out that Dave Rubin's claim to be the last liberal or a classical liberal are labels that make no sense for various reasons. And people would then spend their time, far too much time, mentioning what they always mention when talking about Dave Rubin, which is how he's clearly a right-wing person pretending to be a liberal or a lefty, who only interviews right-leaning guests and who never ever challenges their beliefs. Therefore, he's a great tool for conservatives, and his show is essentially just a mouthpiece for the right wing. Okay, but the thing is, people have been saying this for years. Literally everybody is aware of this. Everybody is aware of this theory. His fans, us, everybody. So what I'm saying is we must stop mentioning those facts. Why? Because he wants you to mention them. You're spending time, wasting time criticising his fake political stance, when you could be focused 100% on what his right-wing and far-right guests have said, or who he's promoting this week. It aids Rubin's cause to deflect your attention from what's going on his show and onto his fake political persona. Not only that, but remember who started the whole I'm a classical liberal thing. It's your friend and mine, Sargon of Akkad, who largely said those words because it was an easy way to trigger the liberals, right? It was a troll move that consistently worked again and again and again and again. That's why he kept saying it all the time. When Sargon used to be on Twitter, I'd get very frustrated watching people highlighting yet another set of right-wing or far-right views and beliefs from Sargon, only to then be sidetracked into spending several tweets, several minutes, several hours arguing with him, a troll, about his political standpoint, saying, for example, Carl, you just endorsed Trump again. Surely you should now stop calling yourself a liberal or stop saying you're reforming the left or whatever you're saying today. And it happened almost every time Sir Trolls-A-Lot was on Twitter, okay? And like I said before, it all aids to deflect from the conservative views Sargon was defending or endorsing, and it allows him to show his troll followers that he's able to rile actual liberals and actual lefties with a simple lie about his love of, quote, classical liberalism. So stop doing it, guys. Focus on more important things, right? Anyway, back to Dave Rubin's video called Socialism Isn't Cool. Clearly a viewpoint of a liberal, am I right, guys? No, I'm doing it again. Anyway, what was the subtext of that video, I wonder? Maybe it's something like, "Hey fellow kids, socialism isn't cool. If you want cool, then look no further than my interviews with Katie Hopkins, Tommy Robinson and Milo Yiannopoulos. Find out what the cool millennials are talking about. I'm reforming the left. Here's my Patreon." But soon afterwards, Dave Rubin was publicly disgusted when YouTube demonetised his Socialism Isn't Cool video. Yes, that private capitalist corporation that solely exists to create a profit and that can literally do whatever it fucking wanted, decided that Rubin wouldn't get a slice of the pie this time. So in response, Dave Rubin posted another video soon afterwards called, wait for it, Capitalism Isn't Cool, because he thinks YouTube is now a socialist company due to the demonetisation of his video that was negative towards socialism. Are you still following me? This is a genius at work, ladies and gentlemen. YouTube is now socialist because it did a thing Dave Rubin dislikes. But remember, it's the SJWs that are the real snowflakes. Dave does have a point though, because YouTube literally makes hardline conservatives like himself and Sargon rich. And there's nothing more socialist than not sharing the wealth. I think we can all agree on that. YouTube allows white nationalists and Nazi propaganda on its platform and profits from it, and the creators of that profit from it. Come on guys, that is pretty socialist. It has SJW written all over it. Joking aside, Dave Rubin is a fucking idiot. There's trolling and desperate ways to get attention and views from a stupid public, and then there's owning yourself after being a stroppy bastard and revealing to the world that you're a fucking moron. In Dave Rubin's defence, technically YouTube did allow his Capitalism Isn't Cool video to be monetised. So maybe Dave Rubin was right all along. Maybe YouTube heard his complaints and then looked upon him favourably. Or maybe he just got lucky and the bots that run YouTube didn't catch up with him this time. Maybe he should count himself lucky most of the time, because compared to me, for example, and many other people, I've just only got 1,700 subscribers. That's a drop in the ocean for Dave Rubin, but every single new video I have, including this one and everything I've done over the last year, everything that's uploaded is instantly demonetized, no matter what the subject matter, meaning I have to request a manual review by the bots, who later, about a week later, finally make a decision as to whether they will monetize or demonetize a video, just as the viewing numbers start to dry up. So even if the bots allow monetization, the views have already peaked for me, and it leaves me with essentially just a few cents earned, maybe up to $3 maximum per month, possibly $4 on a very good month. $4 for a month worth of content on YouTube for videos that I spent weeks working on. So Mr. Dave Rubin, there is literally no way I and many people like me can ever make any money from YouTube. Hashtag socialism. He's such an idiot. He's a pandering idiot, and I wonder how many other idiots bought this really shit conspiracy theory. YouTube are out to get me because I don't understand how private corporations work, or socialism, or capitalism for that matter. It's censorship, goddammit, and that's why I'm complaining in this public video, which I'm currently making money off of. A huge win in the battle of ideas, or the idea revolution, as I now call it. He does, by the way, I'm not making this shit up. The ideas revolution. YouTube, you're a bunch of SJW socialists because you won't let me profit from yet another video where I whine about the left before promoting the mouthpieces of the conservatives and the far right. You assholes! And now, everybody, please welcome to the show, Mr. Richard Spencer. Okay, that's a joke. He hasn't actually invited Richard Spencer on yet. But it is just a matter of time, isn't it? Surely. When is he going to invite Spencer onto his show under the guise of, we need an open dialogue with people who want to genocide non-whites? I mean, people who the left disagree with. Here's my Patreon. On a similar note, you know when Ian Miles Chong regularly tweets about the stupid and incorrect statement along the lines of, "Hey lefties, you know the Nazi party was officially called the National Socialist Party, yeah? Yeah? The National Socialist Party, yeah?" Well, that means, guys, that means the Nazis are socialists, just like you are. Gotcha, libtards. The most evil regime in history share the same beliefs as you. Zing! Anyone with half a brain knows that Ian has just seen the word socialist in a title and then done zero research to find out the Nazis adopted the word to fool idiots into thinking they were actually a left-wing party instead of far-right. You know, idiots like Ian, for example. I've seen a good example on Twitter. It's like people saying the Democratic Republic of North Korea is democratic because it's got the word in the title. He's an idiot, obviously. Also, Ian, you and many of your followers either defend the Nazis and white nationalists all the fucking time, or a lot of you support a lot of their views, like, you know, of Nazis, right? So using your logic, I guess that also makes you all socialists too. And guess what? Spoiler alert, socialism isn't cool because Dave Rubin said so. Another huge win in the battle for the ideas revolution, or whatever it is today. Now, 2018 has seen the return to comedy of Chris Rock, and the end of last year, start of this year, has also seen Dave Chappelle making a great comeback to comedy as well on Netflix. Both comedians have been watched by millions of people on Netflix alone in the last couple of months. With that in mind, guess who also announced his return to comedy in the lamest way possible? Dave Rubin tweeted that he's returning to stand-up with a set that is, and I quote, 90% soy jokes. Almost all the jokes are about soy. Wow. Let's try and imagine how that might go. Hey guys, thanks for coming. Have you noticed the differences between men and women? Yeah, men pee standing up, don't they? Yeah, they do. Men pee standing up, whereas women shouldn't be employed by Google because they aren't as smart as men. Is this thing on? Hello? Okay, let me try something else. 2 soy boys walk into a bar. Guys, come on, guys. Guys, hey, don't throw that at me.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
In January, I posted a tweet that arguably, some might say, went small-scale viral. Yes, I'm posting, so what? It got 3,000 likes and 1,200 retweets, which is the ratio that people aim for nowadays, I believe. And it meant that I got an absolute shit ton of notifications popping up on my phone pretty much every 3 or 4 seconds. Yeah, I know, first world problems, eh guys? Anyway, the post was based on a tweet by a member of the public who is a young person who went outside during the winter with their mother and got some snow, put it all together to create a human form. I think you know where I'm going with this. They put a carrot on the nose, they put a scarf around the neck of the person, they put twigs to form arms, and they put a nice woolly hat on the head. They even put blusher on the cheeks, so this snow person, as they called it, the snow person looked very human-like. It was very, very cute little thing. And the tweet read, "My mum and I have just made the cutest snow person. Love heart, emoji. This tweet of theirs went actual viral with around about 33,000 likes and 14,000 retweets. And what that means is, when something goes viral like that, it attracts absolute losers to come and try and spoil your fun because they don't understand how society works. Bitter, evil, horrible people. So, my mum and I just made the cutest snow person received the following hilarious, unintentionally hilarious replies. One person wrote, "Snow person? Jesus Christ, is society so PC these days we can't say snowman anymore?" Another person responded with, "Get a fucking grip. Snow person? No, get out, it's snowman." But my favourite of all is someone who replied with 3 separate lines with gaps between each line just to emphasise his or her point. And the 3 lines are as follows. "What? That's line number 1. What? Next bit is, it's a snowman. And put it all together with the third line. What? It's a snowman. People are even trying to ruin snow, for fuck's sake. People are trying to ruin snow. The SJWs have got nothing better to do than ruin snow somehow. So I just made a comment which was, this is slightly ironic, you could say, because a viral tweet that uses the term snow person has received replies from people who are made entirely from snowflakes. And the facepalm moment of the last couple of weeks came, it's not a great story, it's not a nice story, it's about a racist kid, school kid in America, who got a fellow student deported by ICE, which is the Immigration and Customs Enforcement agency, which basically finds illegal immigrants and says, right, you can get out of this country now, even if you've been here for a while, we don't give a shit. There's a guy who was Mexican, he was removed from his entire family because he came to America decades ago, I think it was, illegally, and he settled in America, he was paying taxes, and they just went, right, you're a father to all these children, and you're a husband to this wife, you're going to go back to Mexico. And it caused a lot of controversy. Anyway, this racist kid in America got a fellow student deported by ICE. The racist kid then gets expelled from school for being a racist and getting a fellow student removed from the country. He got expelled for doing that thing. Therefore, the racist kid has to find a new school. Got it? Good. Then, other racists went online to start screaming and getting outraged, saying stuff like, that's not fair. That is not fair. That racist kid has to find a new place to get an education. That racist kid should sue the school. Like the two incidents are equal, like they're the same thing. One kid can never go back to America, back to living the American dream, back to his house, back to his friends, back to his life, and the other kid has to go to math class in a different school. And moving on to February, where normal people might say to other people something along the lines of Happy Black History Month, whereas racists may say something like Happy but what about White History Month. Yeah, so there's, always quite a lot of racism happening on Twitter. But February was really one step beyond, I think, because Black Panther came out, and I'm not going to give you any spoilers here, but I must say Black Panther is a really fun movie. It is very, very African. Very African indeed, and there are some female characters in there who are strong and, in my opinion, steal the show more than once, okay? And those two factors alone explains why many reactionary commentators were very, very, very upset at its success, which gives you even more reasons to love this movie, in my opinion. And the sad thing is that racists recognising it as a black movie, it's for everybody, but it really does give black people a good reason to go to cinema, celebrating black culture and black people in Africa and whatnot. So racists decided to make up fake stories about people, white people, going to the theatres and having their heads kicked in by black people who thought the white people weren't welcome at these screenings. And there's quite a infamous picture now of a lady who's got blood coming down her face, like she's just been glassed or like really whacked hard in the face and broken all of her skin. She's bleeding quite heavily, looking miserable, obviously. And the caption is something along the lines of, lady goes to see Black Panther, black audience decide to kick the shit out of her, okay? Turns out that picture of the lady is from an accident that she had many years ago. It's not connected to this event whatsoever. It's not even connected to any racial violence. It's just taking a picture of a woman who's bloody and tried to imply that she was attacked by black people. So racists are trying to incite racial violence at movie theatres by lying about racial violence at movie theatres. With that in mind, when I saw Black Panther, I do recall quite vividly that a black audience member who was there decided to break my ribs. He lacerated my left hand, he gouged one of my eyes out, he set me on fire twice, he sold my soul to Satan, he ran me over when I left the cinema, he dropped an anvil on my head, and it was all a bit distracting, to be honest with you, so that's why I'm going to go see the movie again on Monday. Hi kids, this is Anti-Social Media talking to you from the post-editing production stage of the podcast. I've edited all the audio together, stuff you heard already, and I've decided not to include the gun control section of the show for two reasons. Number one, it was slightly longer than I'd hoped. I've only got a 45-minute window for this show, and I wanted to put as much in as possible. Also, I don't think the comedy next to the seriousness of the gun control topic really works well together. It sort of takes away from the point possibly, and you know, I wouldn't say it looks amateur, it just doesn't look great in my opinion. So what I've got is about 16 to 20 minutes of audio and clips, which I can put together and put in YouTube form, a video that will be out in the next couple of days after this podcast has been uploaded. So do look out for that one. Rather serious video from me. Makes a bit of a change, I guess. And professional people would edit out from the start of this podcast the mentions that there would be a gun control section in the show, but you know, consider it a tease, if you will, of a future project instead. And secondly, I'm clearly not a professional, as I've just proven from the words I've just said. Okay, I'm rambling, so what I'm going to do now is thank some people who've given me money, unbelievably, to make this bullshit. Now, a slight break from the normal. Instead of reading out all of the names of people who've ever given me money, I've decided, because the list is getting a little bit too long, luckily, which is a, you know, first world problem right there, I'm only going to read out the names of people who have given me money since January 2018 until the present day. So I'd like to say thank you first of all to the newbies who've given me cash, which is Nick Hayden, and this is a glorious name. Sis is Piers, aka the Ambivalent Magnificence. I've seen his name on Sean, Jen and H-Bomber Guy's Patreon list as well, so if he considers me worthy of getting money like them, then that's quite a big compliment, so thank you very much, sirs. Or madam. Could be a lady. Sis is Piers, could be a lady. Could be. It probably isn't, but it could be a lady, you never know. Also want to thank the other patrons, Wannabe Massanus, Christy Winters, another great name this, The Warzone, formerly known as Sweden, Michael Rock and Rollins, Mark from Tasmania, Some Random Geek, The International Cheese Eater, Rabibble123, Rebecca Beard, Christopher Jones, Dark Statistic, The Willy Bumblebee, and of course, Monsieur Generous, Nicholas. Thank you very much, all of you. If you'd like a track listing of all the songs you've heard in today's programme, please go below to the description box where you'll see all the names of the tracks. I don't know if you can tell, but I think I'm losing my voice. Too much podcasting. The next video after the gun control one, or possibly before, is about Jordan Peterson's fans, okay? Not Jordan Peterson, because that would be dull, but his fans, who I've noticed use quite particular tactics when they moan about someone criticising their hero, or when they're defending their hero all day long, you know. It's quite entertaining, really. And also, in the future, around about the time when the next podcast is available in about 6 to 8 weeks, which is the average length between shows, there will be stuff available for you to buy if you wish on Bandcamp, which is the highlights of the first season of this podcast, which is now no longer available to the public. I'm going to try and get through this before my voice goes. Basically, it's about 3 to 5 hours worth of jokes and interviews. I used to do interviews on this podcast with various comedians who are... It's the best stuff. It really is stuff I'm very proud of. Very funny stuff. And I thought, well, I'm never going to make any money out of YouTube. Can't make any money out of a free podcast. So what I'll do is I'll use it as like additional tips. If people want to check out my back catalogue and bung me a few quid for that, it pays for a few more beers down the pub, basically. So what it's going to be is either 2 or 3 albums worth of podcast episodes highlights for about £2 or £3 each. So we're looking probably £10 for the whole lot, $10, sorry, for the whole lot. And of course, if you've given me money on Patreon in the past, anytime in the past, or on PayPal, you'll get all of that for free. And here's a little cheat: if you want to get your name read out in a future podcast or video and get your hands on a free album, all you got to do is drop me $4 minimum on PayPal, or just like open up the Patreon once, put $4 in, and then bugger off, and then you'll get a free album and your name mentioned for a whole year. How about that? A little bit of a cheat there for you. Right, literally my voice is dying, so I'm going to go now. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, laters, baters.
I see you, I hear you, red iron bends. Stand back, Christopher Columbus, and look what you done. Black eye done by laser. 5, 4, 5. No more blood for Englishman.
2 soy boys walk into a bar. Come on, guys. Guys, hey, don't throw that at me.